We've had Anakin Skywalker's path to the dark side. We've had Luke Skywalker's path to being a Jedi. But now, we're on the road to Rogue One. Okay, so we're finally here. 8 weeks away from the release of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I've got my sweet ass Sith robe on, and we're going to talk about a film that is more than underwhelming, but it has to be talked about because it's canon. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I'll be the first to admit, this movie fucking sucks, but there are things in it that do work, and I want to talk about those as well as the negatives because we're going to be fair here. So, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, it starts off with our boy Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi on a secret mission, and they're there to protect Queen Amidala, who is known as Padme now, but back then she was a weird woman in clown makeup with a husky voice, and they're there to protect her, but on the way they meet a young boy called Anakin Skywalker who, okay, it makes no sense that he's this fucking young in the film. Look how young he is. He's 8 years old in this film. There was no reason for that. There was no reason for this film because it really does not lead into the origin of Darth Vader. All we get is a young boy with the power of the Force. We got that with Luke Skywalker and he was a Jedi, and it was fine because we didn't have to introduce Luke Skywalker at 8 years old. We know that Anakin's gifted. Let him just be the age he was in Attack of the Clones, minus the rat tail, but we'll talk about the rat tail another time. But yeah, they meet a young boy called Anakin Skywalker, and the re-emergence of the Sith means they have to sort of take them down, and they've got their new threat, which is the Phantom Menace, which is Darth Maul, and we basically have the most boring, tenacious, tedious, there we go, movie I've ever fucking come across. It is so boring. Like, there are just scenes that go by and they just drag and drag and drag, but there are some really good things to talk about. I mean, let's address the elephant in the room. I don't really want to have to address him, but Jar Jar Binks, why was he in the movie? I mean, he didn't add anything to the plot. He was just stupid. I know they're trying to appeal more to kids with this trilogy, but in the last movie of this trilogy, you've got a character like burning alive. So how is this supposed to appeal to kids when you've got that coming up? The 8-year-old were introduced to in this movie. So yeah, I mean, this is the start of the Anakin and Padme drinking game. Hold up. We're going to be needing this later on, I swear. So yeah, this is the start of the Anakin and Padme drinking game with the cheesy dialogue and the love talk. None of it works. The good thing is about this movie is that Qui-Gon Jinn is a well sort of acted character. It's a shame he just doesn't have any story development because by the time, by the way, spoilers, by the time he's killed off at the end, it's just you don't really care because you never got to know the character. And that's the start of the character development for Obi-Wan Kenobi. But in this movie, he's a bland teenager like Anakin was in the second movie. And I'll be the first to praise Ewan McGregor's performance in the Star Wars Saga. But back when he looked like Renton from Trainspotting, he really didn't do a good job. I mean, he was just really bland. By episode 2, that changes. But again, story for another time. So yeah, we also get the introduction of the midichlorians, which are the little like particles that live inside you that control the Force, and it's stuff like that that make this movie. It makes George Lucas's original vision. It takes it and squashes it all up and just ruins it. And we've got a lot of racism. I don't know whether that's intentional or not, but we all know what Jar Jar Binks and Watto is, apart from the best characters of the saga. We know what they're supposed to be, and it's just like, come on. We're in the, I think this was made in no, this was still made in the 20th century. Okay, we're at the end of the 20th century, man. You can't keep doing this shit. So, Phantom Menace is a prime example of how a director can ruin their own work. I mean, I know he only worked on one Star Wars movie, George Lucas. He only directed one Star Wars movie and he directed all 3 of these. It's just proof how a person who had such a good vision to begin with can ruin all that with one simple thing, and that simple thing here was midichlorians. That's not the only bad thing in the movie. There is a lot bad about the movie. This is the one where they introduced CGI, and well, I know they had the little uses of CGI in the others, but this is one where they introduced it as a full-blown means of like characters, like Jar Jar Binks entirely CGI and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know exactly how they made him, but I know that he was mostly CGI. If any of him was practical, correct me, but that's what I know about him. But it's stuff like that that make the movie feel like less of a Star Wars movie than it is. I mean, there are some cool sequences. The pod racing is cool, and we did get some cool video games out of that. Not really needed, apart from Anakin to make some money. But the fact that they also had the origins of R2-D2 and C-3PO wasn't really needed. They could have just been around. It's not needed that Anakin made them, because then it doesn't make sense by the fourth movie, or the first movie if we're going... You know what, it doesn't really matter. I don't want to confuse people, but by the time we're introduced to C-3PO, it's like, oh, he was made by Anakin. Surely he would know who Darth Vader is, and he would warn Luke of who Darth Vader is, because... Anyway, surely 3PO knows who Darth Vader is by now, because he would have... It doesn't matter. We get a naked C-3PO in this, and it's horrific. Best part about this movie is the fight between Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Maul. Darth Maul is a really cool character. They didn't use him enough, kind of wasted him, but he is cool. He is like one of the characters that make this movie... Stop this movie from being a 100% disaster. So, the fight between Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi was great. It was the first time we saw two Jedis face against one Sith Lord, and you've got them going from all angles. It was a really cool lightsaber fight, probably the best lightsaber fight we've had yet, until Darth Maul actually kills Qui-Gon, and then it just gets stupid again, because you've got Qui-Gon's death, and it would have been emotional if he had any character to him, and it was fine, kill him off, sure. But to have the fight between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan carry on, it was stupid the way they did it. I get that Darth Maul has to be killed and Obi-Wan has to prove himself as a Jedi Master because he's going to train Anakin. And anyway, the fight between those, when he actually turns around and kills Darth Maul, it was fine when he did that, but the leading up to it, like, he'd fallen down the shaft and he dropped his lightsaber, and Darth Maul's just there swinging like this, and it's like, just force push him, man. But then you've got Obi-Wan doing a flip over him and cutting him in half. But Darth Maul surely could have just pulled up his lightsaber and been like, save. But yeah, like, it's stuff like that it makes the movie more stupid than it wants to be and that it has to be. I get they were trying to appeal to kids. I get why Jar Jar Binks and certain characters were added into the film, as much as I don't like the fact that they were. But that last lightsaber fight was great up until that point, and it... Again, as I said, it shows how a good director can ruin something they made, and that ruined a good lightsaber fight, so I just want to put that out there. But the score's really good. It has such a good soundtrack, probably the best from any Star Wars movie we've had. Liam Neeson, I guess, does fine. There are things to like, but overall the movie really does suck, and the story is so bland and boring and political. You know, you've got all the Jedi Council with Yoda, and my favourite character, Yaddle, and all that stuff just drags on for too long, and I feel like if they'd had a bit more of the cool Darth Maul lightsaber-esque stuff, I'm not saying the whole movie has to be a full-blown lightsaber fuckfest, I'm just saying if they had a bit more of that, could have been a better movie. There are ways to improve this movie, but I'm going to rate this movie. I have a rating system from Alderaan, meaning I wish it didn't exist, to Death Star 2, meaning it's half made. Like, it's got potential, to Death Star, which means fully completed and I like it. I'm going to go with Alderaan for this one, because one cool lightsaber fight that got ruined by the end does not save a bland, boring, forgettable movie. I mean, battle droids are cool, yeah, super battle droids are cool. Characters look cool, but overall it really does suck, and it gave us Jar Jar Binks. It gave us the cancer of the Star Wars universe. So thank you for that, George Lucas. You really did succeed. But I'm going to go out and say it, The Phantom Menace is not the worst Star Wars movie, and there is more rage coming later on. This one was just a little taster of what Road to Rogue One is going to entail. I know it was quite a short video, but I'm still sort of figuring out how to structure these Road to Rogue One videos. But for now, Star Wars The Phantom Menace, I'd say, not really worth seeing, not really a Star Wars film. But I'm going to bring these reviews to you on a Thursday. I didn't get time last Thursday, but I'm going to try and bring them to you every Thursday now. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon for a review of the Attack of the Clones. So see you guys soon.